Okay, so in the previous class we were discussing about the pins of 8086. So up to clock we have discussed. The next pins are test pins, ready, reset and NMI. So test here, this test input is active low pin, test bar is there. So test input is used for the wait instruction. Okay, it is used with the wait instruction. Whenever a wait instruction is being given to 8086, and if this wait is going to be over, then the 8086 should be given an active low input. Here a low input should be given to test bar input. So once a test bar input is given to the 8086, that means the microprocessor will understand like the wait signal that was given previously has completed, and now the 8086 can perform their operation. Whatever next instruction is there, that it can execute from the next instruction. Okay, test input is always associated with the wait instruction. Okay, so here 8086 will enter it in a wait state after execution of wait instruction and will resume execution only when the test bar is made low by an active hardware. So once the wait instruction is being executed, if the 8086 is going need to go for execution mode, then this test bar input should be given active low. This is used to synchronize an external activity to the microprocessor internal operation. Okay, so this wait is basically done to synchronize any external device. So if any external device is there or memory is there, okay, if it is going to communicate with microprocessor, if there is some speed or some delay in between this communication, so microprocessor is provided a wait signal, so that if this external device reaches the frequency of this microprocessor, till then the microprocessor is made up to wait. Okay, so once it is in the wait stage, this microprocessor, to start its execution, this test bar input should be given active low. So test bar input will be given by an external external hardware setup that will be providing this test bar input, and so that microprocessor will start its execution in synchronization with the external device. Any external device is there, or any memory operation is there. Okay, the next one is ready. So similar to this test one, so ready is also like if any external device and memory is transferring a data without the help of 8086, externally it is transferring the data. If that external peripheral device or memory has completed its data transfer, then it will be giving an ready input at 22 pin number. Okay, so this will be given active high pin. If high pin is there, so one will be given to this ready input of 8086. It will be uh, uh, ready for the 8086 processor. Like once the data transfer has been completed by the external device, then now it will be giving a ready signal to the microprocessor, so that the microprocessor can start the control of data bus and all other buses, and it can perform its operation. It will be ready to execute the instructions available in 8086. So before that, an external device was accessing its data bus and control buses, okay, to transfer the data externally. So this ready pin will give like 8086 will start its control on data buses. Here this ready pin is like an acknowledgement from the slow device or the memory that they have completed the data transfer. Okay. The signal made available by the devices is synchronized by the 8284 clock generator. So this synchronization is provided by this clock generator to provide ready input to the 8086. This is an active high signal. Okay. So here, once the external device has completed its data transfer, it will be providing an acknowledgement, and this acknowledgement will be provided to ready pin of the 8086. So this acknowledgement says that the data transfer has been completed. Now the uh, data bus control can be taken by 8086. Next one is reset pin. So in reset pin, this is usual than all other reset pins available in previous processor like 8086 or 8085 also. So this reset pin will cause the processor to immediately terminate its present activity, and it will go for the zero, starting from the zero execution, zero address of the instruction pointer that we say here, that it will start from the zero address for executing the instructions. Okay, so once we have given the input reset input as active high, okay, so this active high will make the processor immediately terminate all its present operations, and it will be going to execute from 00 itself. Okay. The signal must be active high for at least 4 clock cycles. So here there is a condition like whatever high signal we are providing for reset, this reset should be available to this pin 21 for at least 4 clock cycles. Okay, then only it will be considered a valid input reset. Next one is NMI. So here NMI is for non-maskable interrupt. So here it is a bidirectional pin. Okay, so it is a bidirectional pin. It will be an input and considered as output also. So here, if NMI is activated, then this interrupt, this will do the interrupt input uses interrupt vector 2. So interrupt vector 2 is there. There is a we will see this later. Like it is a location whatever interrupts are there available at vector 2, that will be activated and that will be executed by the microprocessor. Okay, so NMI is non-maskable interrupt, and thus that it will be, once it is activated, it will activate the interrupts available at vector 2 location. Okay, we will see that later into the interrupt part. Minimum and maximum mode pins. So we have already seen like maximum and minimum pin, pin number 33, how it is working in maximum mode and minimum mode. So here 8086 microprocessor can work in two modes of minimum and maximum. In the minimum mode operation, the microprocessor do not associate with any co-processor and cannot be used for multi-processor systems. So if the processor is working in minimum, it cannot go for multi-mode processor system. Okay. So in maximum mode, 8086 can work in multi-processor and co-processor configuration. Okay. So in maximum mode, it will be operating as multi-processor or co-processor. So it can be either a supporting processor, that is co-processor, or a main processor along with another processors like multi-mode processor. So maximum and minimum mode is decided by the pin that is available at 33 pin number. So here when the pin is high, 8086 operate in minimum mode because this is active low, active high pin, and this is active low. So if high is given, the minimum mode is activated. If low is given, maximum mode will be activated. Next are pins starting with 24 to 30, 24 to 31. Okay. So these pins are basically activated for the minimum mode operation. If a minimum mode operation, this processor is working as a minimum mode processor, then pin 24 to 31 will be activated. Okay, so this will be used for the then 8086 itself generate all the bus control signals. So here, if it is working in minimum mode, then this will be the role of the pins. Okay, so this is the role in case of minimum mode of. So if you see, yes, so here you can see there are different. These are the pin. These pins starting with 24 to 31. Two different operations. Okay, so one is this operation, another one is this also. Okay, like these are multiplex pins. So if the processor is working in minimum mode, these pins will be working in this respect. So 24 will be worked as INTA, ALE. Okay, so these are the pins that will be operating in case of minimum mode. So here hold is there. So we already know it is these pins will be similar to that 8085 only. So hold here the input signal to the processor. Okay, so this hold is there. So this hold input signal to the processor uh, form the bus master as a request to grant the control of the buses. So once this hold pin is activated, then this is activated means any external device is there. If that wants the control of data bus and control bus, then it will be giving the input to hold pin. So this will provide uh, the control of microprocessors buses to an external device, and that external device will be the DMA control basically. So whenever a data transfer need to be taken between microprocessor and any other external device, there is the possibilities like the microprocessor speed is high, but the external device to which the data transfer is to be done, that is of slow speed. Okay, so if it is slow, so to avoid the resource of 8086 or the microprocessor, generally another external device is used that is called DMA controller that provide data transfer between the memory of 8086 to the external device without the role of 8086 or without the role of processor. So that is obtained by DMA controller. So this once that data transfer is to be done, then DMA controller wants the control of bus of 8086 basically, or it is similar, it is in 8085 also. So at that time this hold pin will be given to 1, then this 8086 will hold the control of it, their bus architecture, but buses basically, and that will be controlled by DMA controller. So this is done by this pin number 31. HLDA is hold acknowledgement. So HLDA is, so hold acknowledgement means the acknowledgement signal by the processor to the bus master requesting the control of bus through hold. So once a hold request is given to microprocessor, in response to this hold instruction, this microprocessor will be acknowledging the external device by hold acknowledgement pin number 30. So once this hold acknowledgement is provided, that means the 8086 is ready to give the control of data bus and control bus to the external device, that is DMA controller. Okay, so this is acknowledgement by done by HLDA. So here write bar is for the writing the data. So basically write control signal asserted low whenever processor writes data to memory or input output board. So whenever data is being written by the microprocessor to any other memory or input output devices, this pin should be active. Low, that is output pin. And memory and input output, it is similar to the previous one. Like whenever it is memory operation, it will be 1. If it is input output operation, it will be 0. Pin it will be 0. Okay. So use to differentiate memory access and input output access. For memory reference instructions, it is high. For input output instruction, it is active low. Okay. So the next one is DT. This is DT R bar. So this DT and R bar is data transmit and receive. So here output signal from the processor to control the direction of data flow through the data transceiver. Okay, transceiver. So whatever type of data is being receiving, either the data is being received or data is being transferred. This is denoted by this 27. These are like control bits, are control pins are there basically. Okay, so here this will be controlling whether it will telling this outward like it is, and data transmitter mode is there or data receiving mode is there. The mode of operation of 8086 microprocessor. This DEN is data enable. This is an output signal from the processor used as the output enable for the transceiver. Whenever the data either it is receiving the data or transmitting the data, that will be enabled and disabled by this DEN data enable pin. Okay, this ALE, that will be address latch enable, that is used in case of multiplexing and demultiplexing of data and address buses. This INTAR is basically interrupt acknowledgement. When the interrupt request is accepted by the processor, the output is low on this line. Basically, it will be giving as output, and this output will be active low. When the microprocessor has accepted the interrupt, it will be acknowledging the interrupting device by providing this active low pin. Once it is giving, that means it has considered the interrupt given to the processor. Okay, so the next is maximum mode. So in the maximum mode, the pins Q24 to 31 will be having a different role. So during maximum mode operation, the minimum and maximum pin is grounded, so it will be logic 0. So that means maximum mode has been activated. At that mode, pin number 24 to 31 will be having some different work than the minimum mode. Okay, so here this is the pin number 31, RQ bar and GT0. So this is basically GT0 and GT1. So this is like a request bus and bus grant. So request bus and bus grant. These requests are used by other local bus masters to force the processor to release the local bus at the end of the processor's current cycle, bus cycle. So this is basically in the previous one also. This was hold and HLDA. Okay, so similar to that, here also it will be, if it is working in maximum mode, that means more than one processor is being used. So more than one processor is being used, that means there may be sometimes like 8086 buses control will be given to other processor also. So that is this decided by these two pins, RQ bar and GT0 and RQ bar GT1. So this is request basically bus request and bus grant, whether someone is requesting for bus control, and if you are giving the request bus permission, that will be decided by, that will be acknowledged by these two pins. Okay, and these are multi-directional, I can say bi-directional. It will be and working as input and output. It will be taking the request and providing the acknowledgement. So it will be a multi-directional or bi-directional pins are there. The request on GT0 will have high priority than GT1. So there are two requests are there. So if some request is given to GT0 pin, means pin number 31, in case of maximum mode, then this will be having a high preference. That means these two pins are basically used for taking a request and granting a request of what the buses, basically control bus and data bus. So if someone is requesting, if two requests are coming at the same time on these two pins, then the request given on this pin number 31 will be considered a high priority request, and this request given on pin number 30 will be given a less priority. Okay, so there are two priorities are there because these two are of a similar nature. Both are used for taking the request and granting the permission. But if JT0 is and GT1 both are given as you can say same time request, then the request of GT0 will be considered of high priority. Next one is a log. So here this log is an output signal activated by log prefix instruction. So if this can be directly activated by the instructions only, whatever instructions are there that we will be looking into the next slides. Okay, next lectures also. So it is an active low, remain active until the completion of instruction prefixed by the log. So whenever instruction is given with the log signal, log code, that will be till the log is raised, that will be active. Okay, once it is reaching the log, the 8086 output low on the log pin while executing an instruction prefixed by the log to prevent other bus masters from gaining control of the system bus. So if this log is activated, then this 8086 will be preventing the master bus to give a request of these two pins for granting the bus and control bus and data bus. It will be logged, like it will not be giving the control to other external processors also. So this control will be logged, and that control will always be with 8086 only. So if this is activated, the locking of the control given to other devices will be done. The control will not be given to other devices if this lock is activated. So next one is this status bits S0, S1 and S2. These are the status bits. So basically there are the status bits, and this status bits with different control signals, they are having different operations. If 000 is there, interrupt acknowledgement will be provided, like this microprocessor is providing interrupt acknowledgement. If 001 is there, it will be like reading input, reading data from input port, similarly writing data to the input port, input output ports. And if status signals, so these are the different modes of status signals. So based on the S0, S1 and S2 bits, it will be decided whether what type of operation is being performed by the microprocessor. Next one is QS0 bar and QS1 bar. So this is Q status. So these two is also a status signal, and this will be giving the status of the Q. So as we have discussed in the property of 8086, like 8086 is having a Q register that is of 8 bit. Okay, so what type of register is there? So what type of spaces, what type of operations that is being performed in the queue, whether the queue is available or not, that will be giving you out by the S0 and QS0 and QS1. So it is a status bit, but for queue, that is for queue, it is providing the status. So the processor provides the status of queue in these lines. So by these two pins 24 and 25, the status of queue will be given. The queue status can be used by external device to track the internal status of the queue in 8086. So if this signal is given by the processor, these two signals will be indicating the status of our queue, whether the queue is available for another instruction to be saved or not. Okay, so the status of Q0 and Q1 can be interpreted as shown in the table, like here. If it is 00, that means no operation. No operation is being performed by the queue. Okay, if it is 01, that means first byte of an opcode from the queue. So that means first byte of the opcode is being operated by the queue. If it is 10, the entire queue is empty. Okay, if 11 is there, then subsequent byte from the queue is being executed. Okay, so this is the different combination of status bits for the queue, whatever queue will be having of 6 byte. So these are the different basic pins and their operations that we have gone through. Then next we will see the architecture basically. So what is the architecture of 8086? So this is the architecture of 8086. So here in this architecture, this complete architecture is divided into two parts. One is BIU, that is bus interface unit. Another one is EU, that is called execution unit. So this 8086 microprocessor having block diagram that is divided into two parts, bus interface unit and execution unit. So bus interface in this division is basically done to speed up the operation. So whatever operation is being performed, that will be speed up once the two different operations are combined separately, like one is bus interface unit, another one is execution unit. It is separated, and the first step is like if any instruction is being fetched, so instruction fetching and then decoding. So basically the instruction fetching is done by bus interface unit, and then decoding and executing will be performed by this execution unit. Okay, so here there are different modes. So in that there will be a memory interface. Here is the summation is there. Okay, so here bus interface bus is there. There are this will be having different registers basically. Okay, so this is called code segment, data segment, instruction pointer. So this type of different instruction registers are there. So these registers are basically having different operations basically. Okay, so here IP, that is instruction pointer, code segment, data segment, stack segment, and extra segment. So these are 16-bit registers. Okay, these are 16-bit registers, and these registers are having a summation. So whatever combination is there, this IP register is there, instruction pointer, this along with these 4 segment registers. Okay, so these are code segment, data segment, and extra segment. So these segment registers are there. These are segment registers. So we will see the segment registers later into the we will be seeing each operation of each of those segment register, and this is instruction pointer basically. So these instruction pointer along with this any of this segment register, by combining these two, there is a summation, like these two are summed up to give the address instruction basically. Okay, So this is the complete address of the instruction is basically in the form of IP plus your segment register will be there. Okay, segment register basically. So these decoding the address of the instruction that is done in the bus interface unit itself. Okay, so once the processor is there, there will be some content of instruction pointer and the segment. These segments will be indicating like your memory is there, complete memory of this microprocessor is divided into different segments. Decoding of the instruction location is basically done into the bus interface unit itself. So this decoding of bus interface unit performed by this bus interface unit will give like the decoding of your instructions. So once the instruction basically decoding means here what the location of the instruction is there and what it is going to perform, that will be done by this bus interface unit only. And once it is done, it will be stored here into the queue. So queue is like if we are providing this queue, this is first field, then second, third, fourth. So once it is first field, another data will be there into the queue. Then this will be the first one will be shifted to here. So like it is first in, that queue will be working like first in, first out. Which the data is there first, it is input into the queue, it will be going downward, and from there it will be phased first. Okay, so by using the control signal, and it will be controlled whether it should be moving to the execution unit, how it should be executed. So this is how the once the instruction is decoded address, decoded data of the instruction will be placed. Like suppose we have seen add instruction is there, add b. Suppose in add b is there, that means it is going to add a plus b, and this will be stored in a accumulator in case of 8085. Okay, so in case of 8085. Okay, so here that is to be done. So this for add b, there is an opcode. Okay, opcode is there. Similarly, if it is ADI is there, and that is ADI with 60 with immediate data, 8-bit data is there. So it will be opcode. This will be an 1-byte instruction. Okay, and this is a 2-byte instruction. So if it is instruction, if that this instruction is to be performed, 1 byte of this will be stored here. The next instruction is this, and it is of 2 byte, so this one will be shifted here. Then the first byte of ADI will be stored here. So similarly, once these two instructions we need to store, so if it is having 1 byte, so 1 byte of ADI will be here, then this will be second byte, and here the of ADI will be stored here. Okay, so this set of instructions ADB, add B, and ADI 8-bit data, that will be of 3 byte. So 3 byte will be stored like that. So once it is further instructions are there, it will be going downward and stored into this instruction byte queue. Basically, this is first input, first output. So once it is stored here, I'll execute this first byte of 8B of code will be fetched, and it will be decoded, and that will be executed by the execution unit. So one thing here advantageous is like the basically the decoding or we can say the opcode is basically fetched by the bus interface unit, and the instruction once fetched, it will be stored into the queue, and this queue will continuously filled up by the bus interface unit. Okay, so fetching of instructions will be done directly. So fetching will, for fetching the instruction, what we need to do is we should be having the address where the instruction is there. So that will be done by this some with stack pointer registers with instruction pointer. So instruction pointer along with this segment registers that will be giving you out the location of the instruction, like fetching the instructions basically. So once we have fetched the instruction, that instruction once fetched will be stored into the queue. So once the queue is full, the instructions now will be executed. So once this executed instruction is being fetched and saved into this queue, this instruction will be executed. And while executing this instruction by the execution unit, at the same time the bus interface unit will be fetching the instructions, next instructions available in the program, that will be fetching and storing it into the queue. This is parallel processing property of 8086 basically. So this two blocks of unit and execution unit will be basically providing you the functionality of pipelining. So at the time of execution of the first instruction, so suppose 6 instructions are there, so this will be first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So first is being executed. At that time, this is available, space is there, so it will be shifted downward. So one space will be available here. So this will be filled by next instruction, and it will be fetched by the bus interface unit and stored into this queue. Okay. So this is how the pipelining will be done here. But one of the disadvantages of this queue is basically like if we are performing any call operation, okay, or subroutine operation basically. So in that, because while operating for call, what happens if call instruction is there and 16-bit data is there location? So we what we do is in instruction pointer, next instruction location is stored into the stack, and then the call will be going to this location. And once it is going to this location, there will be some different set of instructions will be there. So at that time, this data has to be of waste, because it has stored with based on the location of the next instructions available. But if it is call instruction, it will be going to some other location for the execution. So this queue will not be there, not be a useful one for the instructions related to call. So at that time, there is some disadvantage of this queue. So basically it is for normal operation, it will be having a better speed, but if it is call related instructions are there, there will be some disadvantage of this queue. Okay. Next, in the execution unit, you can see there is a general purpose registers are there. General purpose registers will be there, okay, and some arithmetical and logical unit that will be performing some arithmetical and logical operations based on the registers, general purpose registers, okay, and the instructions. So whatever instructions are there into this opcode and opcode are there, and operand are there. So based on opcode and operand, the control system will be accepting the data, and with the help of general purpose registers, it will be arithmetic and will be providing the output. Okay, so this will be output, and this output will be placed onto the data bus, and this data bus will be providing the output to any general purpose register. Okay, so the saving of the data that will be done. So only the fetching of the instruction is performed by the bus interface unit. It will be queued onto the instruction queue. So this fetched instructions are being accepted by the execution unit with the help of control signal and the instruction opcodes, whatever the meaning of the opcode is there, that with the help of this and the registers available, general purpose registers, it will be performing some taking to opcode and operands basically, logical and arithmetic operations will be performed, and its output will be fetched and it will be put into the bus, and this bus will be providing the output to the general purpose registers. Any of the general purpose registers can be used for storing the output. Okay, so this is how the execution of the instructions is basically taken place into the 8086. And here also some operands are there. There will be a flag also. So whatever arithmetic and logical operations are being performed, that will be stored status will be assigned by the flag registers, and this is also given to the data bus, and this data bus will be storing the flag status also. So this is the basic overview of 8286 block diagram. So this is the simplified one, okay, just for understanding. So there are different type of data buses has been used. So bus A is there, that will be there in execution unit. Bus B and bus C is there into the bus interface unit, and this is the logical and arithmetical unit is there to perform some operations. Another here is also a logical and operation mathematical operation is being performed here with respect to the segment registers and instruction pointer, and that is used for, so this arithmetic is done for fetching the instruction, and this instruction arithmetic is done for executing the instruction. So, okay, so sometimes in objective type questions it is asked like where this flag registers are there, either in bus interface unit or execution unit. Okay, so or we can say where the general purpose registers are there in execution unit or bus interface unit. Okay. So this type of different blocks are there, and also make sure like this control system is there into this execution unit. It is in execution unit. Bus interface unit is having only the one arithmetic block that will be performing some arithmetics on the segment registers with instruction pointer register. Okay. And this is only used for like fetching the instruction.